Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are stepping onto the ice, but we're not here to analyze systems or penalty kills. We're going deep into the rhetoric, the accountability, and the very public tension that's swirling around the Toronto Maple Leafs. The information we've gathered for you today, it really captures the immediate, no excuses aftermath of some critical losses in this 2025-26 season. It shows exactly how the new head coach, Craig Berube, has basically weaponized the microphone to publicly challenge his highest paid players, the core of the team. He's forcing a reckoning that has just totally defined their midseason story. Our mission today is to track that precise shift in accountability. We're moving away from the usual structural analysis of X's and O's, and we're going straight into the world of, pure effort, passion, leadership duty. And we're going to analyze the measured but highly significant response from Captain Austin Matthews.
What's fascinating here is the strategy itself. Berube is known for being a straight shooter, right? His teams play physically, they play directly. And here he is manufacturing this public moment of reckoning. And he's doing it now because the team is in a bit of danger. Our metrics show the Leafs are currently sitting just below the Eastern Conference playoff line. They're fighting for every single point. So this isn't your standard, end of a slump team meeting. No, this is a highly focused, very public challenge. It's designed to spur maximum urgency, to redefine expectations. And Berube is making sure that the external pressure is matching the internal pressure on what is the most expensive roster in the league.
And he really started hammering that point home after a particularly demoralizing night against the Washington Capitals. Let's look at that shutout loss. The details show Toronto was blanked 4-0. They couldn't generate any sustained pressure, and you could see Washington was just dictating the pace of the whole game. But the score, that was really the headline. It was Berube's immediate, definitive assessment afterward that truly set the narrative. He stated, without any hesitation or any qualification, that Washington played with more passion than we did tonight. That word, passion, that's the key.
It's a huge strategic distinction. A coach critiquing a system, that's one thing. Criticizing passion and effort, that is something else entirely. That's a direct challenge to the character, to the commitment of the athletes. And he applied that across the entire game, not just one shift. And the measurable failure, it backed him up too. He specifically targeted the power play. He noted it was not good. He said the top unit, which is by definition where their highest paid, most relied upon players are, he said they didn't execute and couldn't make plays. When your stars fail to execute with the man advantage, the coach has all the definitive evidence he needs to shift the focus from the system to the personnel.
I agree that the power play failure gave him the technical ammunition, but strategically, isn't it a massive risk for a coach to go to the media and criticize passion? He's basically telling the world that his highly paid stars, the backbone of the franchise, they just don't care enough. Does that tactic actually work on modern athletes?
It works if you have Berube's reputation and if the team is genuinely struggling with effort. It has to be authentic. And if we connect this back to his philosophy, Berube preaches physical, engaged hockey, winning puck battles. When reporters asked him why this was happening, he declined to explain it himself. And he offered that definitive redirect, ask those guys, not me.
Wow.
That phrase is monumental. It marked the precise moment the coach publicly, and I mean irrevocably, pushed responsibility away from the bench and directly onto the room. He took the heat off himself and put it squarely on his leadership group. He's challenging their mental toughness as much as their execution.
It certainly provided the foundation for that challenge. And the documentation shows that Berube's comments, they followed a pattern. He had previously addressed avoidable mistakes and the need to be cleaner after a tough loss to Nashville. But the Capitals' loss message was just so much more direct. It focused entirely on effort, engagement, and winning those critical battles. And you see specific evidence of that struggle in the data points around that loss. The team had failed to reach 30 shots on goal multiple times recently, which is kind of a baseline measure of offensive activity. In that Washington game, you just see them struggling to maintain any offensive zone time.
In simple terms, they spent the whole game chasing the puck instead of threatening the goal. That chase, that is Berube's definition of lacking passion. He's not asking for genius here, he's asking for grit.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The player response. They actually echoed the coach's sentiment almost immediately, which suggests a painful alignment, not, outright denial. Captain Austin Matthews said the team made it really easy on them. William Nylander spoke openly about a disconnection. And then the defenseman, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, just plainly stated that Washington showed more desperation.
And the fact that no player, not one, attempted to dismiss the criticism or shift the blame back to the system, That became a key focus of the media coverage in the hours that followed. Berube's concise critique describing what happened and identifying where responsibility rested, it left no room for argument or excuses. He effectively cornered the leadership group into agreeing with him.
Which takes us directly into the escalation phase. Berube had fired a warning shot about passion, but then the next major point of friction came after a tough 6-3 loss to the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers scored key goals late, and crucially, Toronto failed to generate that necessary pushback in the final moments.
And Berube spoke to reporters again, and the specific quote shows his demands were escalating from effort to control. He said the team needed more urgency, and that the leadership group had to take control, especially late in games. He wasn't talking about one bad shift or one missed goal anymore. He was talking about institutional failure when the pressure is highest.
And what immediately followed that direct, pointed challenge was, well, it was amplified by silence. Think about the pressure cooker that those next 2 days represented. For 2 days after that loss, top players, including Matthews and John Tavares, did not speak publicly. Every camera, every microphone was focused on them. And that silence, it drew massive attention. They kept the focus squarely on the coach's comments. That silence became louder than any statement they could have made.
Exactly. The focus stayed laser sharp on accountability. Matthews eventually broke that silence, but he did it after a practice session, not right after a game. That timing gave his words so much more weight. They were prepared, they were deliberate, designed to address the controversy head-on.
Right, and Matthews, who was at the time producing at a pace a little lower than his typical elite rate, I think it was 13 goals and 8 assists in 26 games, he addressed the coach's comments directly. So what exactly was the substance of his response?
He was focused squarely on acceptance and accountability. He didn't deny the coach's message or, try to shift blame to outside factors. He just said, we can all be better. Responsibility falls on the leaders to raise the level of play. His focus was entirely on matching Berube's demand for intensity when games tighten, the need for effort to stay high in tough situations. It was the public acceptance of the burden that Berube had placed squarely on his shoulders.
So what does this all mean for the organization? This public back and forth became central to the team's story. It cemented the captain's acceptance of the duties that the coach had openly challenged. It's a statement about performance, for sure, but it also defined the management's approach. And we should pause here and connect this back to the GM, Brad Treliving. He accepted responsibility for the team's slow progress, but publicly confirmed his confidence in the coaching staff, just as the NHL trade season was opening. The message was clear. This effort problem, this urgency issue, it wasn't going to be solved by an external trade. It had to be solved by internal improvement, driven by the very leadership Berube was challenging.
That just reinforces Berube's tactic. He is forcing the existing personnel, the core, to solve the problem themselves. Which, it raises an important question. What exactly is the observable pattern that Berube is reacting to? This struggle, it wasn't isolated to just those 2 losses. December of 2025 was marked by difficulty, tight losses, late goals against, and a real struggle to maintain any kind of consistency. And Matthews' later comments, they confirmed this systemic issue. He highlighted those critical failure moments. He said the team was really flat in third periods and didn't have enough energy. He even referenced specific losses, like the one against San Jose where they gave up a lead and a crucial late game break in a 3-2 game that they just failed to recover from.
It sounds like the issue is a systemic third period drop-off, a failure to close games when the pressure really ratchets up. Okay, so now let's introduce the rivalry context to truly understand the weight and the psychological pressure of this whole slump. The rivalry with the Montreal Canadiens, arguably the oldest and most historic in the sport, has recently just exploded in tension. And just look at the head-to-head results this season. Montreal defeated Toronto twice, a commanding 5-2 win, and then a more recent 2-1 loss in a shootout. So Montreal has taken 4 out of 4 possible points against the Leafs so far this season. And given how close the Eastern standings are, losing those 4 points to a direct historic rival is a massive blow, both practically and psychologically.
Oh, absolutely. And that latest matchup at Scotiabank Arena was a tightly controlled affair that ended in a shootout. The analysis showed Montreal relied on execution while they successfully limited Toronto's chances. Montreal's confidence is soaring. Meanwhile, one of their key guys, Cole Caulfield, he extended his personal point streak to 10 games in that latest matchup. And you just have to appreciate the historical weight here. This rivalry, it dates back to 1917. These aren't just 2 ordinary losses. These results, they reinforce decades of history and they add significant tension, especially as both teams remain squarely in that playoff picture. Losing ground to Montreal while fighting for your spot only fuels the urgency Berube is trying to ignite.
So if we synthesize all of this, The challenging coach, the accepting captain, the quiet GM support, and the mounting rivalry pressure. What's the final picture look like?
I think Berube's entire strategy hinges on